You didn't ghost anyone. You just stopped going first. And for a while, you told yourself it was an experiment, a little test. You'd just wait and see who reached out, who actually noticed, who cared enough to check in without being prompted. And then the silence came. Not all at once, gradually. One by one, the conversations you'd been holding together with your own two hands just quietly fell apart. And part of you wasn't even surprised, because somewhere deep down, you already knew. You were the one keeping most of them alive. What you didn't expect was how much that would hurt, or how long you'd sit with your phone in your hand, wondering whether reaching out first, again, makes you too much, or whether staying silent makes you invisible. Psychology has an answer for why you got here. And I promise, it's not because something is wrong with you. Society has a very simple story about people who stop texting first. They're passive, they're cold, they're playing games. But that story is missing something. It's missing the years of being the one who always initiated, the one who followed up, the one who kept the thread going, because without you, there was no thread. At some point, you didn't stop out of cruelty. You stopped out of exhaustion, out of a quiet, aching need to know whether the connection was real, or whether you had just been very good at simulating one by yourself. That's not a game. That's a deeply human need for reciprocity. And psychology has been studying it for a very long time. The first thing you need to understand is what was actually happening in all those one-sided conversations, and why your nervous system eventually said, enough. Psychologist Elaine Hatfield spent decades researching what she called emotional labor in relationships, the invisible, often unacknowledged work of maintaining emotional connection with another person, initiating, following up, checking in, keeping things warm. And what her research consistently showed is this. When that labor is chronically one-sided, it doesn't just feel unfair. It begins to feel like proof. Proof that you matter less. Proof that the connection isn't mutual. Proof that you have to earn your place in people's lives by working for it constantly. So when you stopped texting first, you weren't being difficult. Your nervous system was finally refusing to keep collecting evidence against itself. But here's where it gets more interesting. There's a concept in psychology called anxious attachment, developed by researcher John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth through her landmark studies on how early relationships shape us. People with anxious attachment often over-initiate in relationships. They reach out more, follow up faster, and work harder to maintain connection. Because somewhere in their early life, love felt conditional. It felt like something you had to chase. And here's the quiet irony. The people most likely to stop texting first are often the same people who used to text first the most. Because they finally recognized the pattern. They traced it back. They realized they weren't initiating out of pure warmth. They were initiating out of fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being the one who cared more. Fear that silence meant abandonment. Stopping wasn't apathy. It was the first honest thing they'd done in years. And that raises a deeper question. Because not everyone who stops texting first does it from a place of healing. For some people, going quiet is not self-awareness. It's self-protection dressed up as self-awareness. Psychologist John Gottman, whose research at the University of Washington followed thousands of couples and relationships over decades, identified a pattern he called stonewalling, emotionally withdrawing from connection not as a boundary, but as a defense, a way of feeling in control when vulnerability feels too dangerous. If you've been hurt before, if opening up led to rejection, if caring more led to pain, your mind learns a very logical lesson. The one who reaches out first is the one who can get hurt first. So you stop. Not because you don't care, but because caring has cost you too much before. This is worth sitting with honestly, because there's a difference between a person who stopped texting first because they've learned their worth, and a person who stopped because they're waiting for someone to prove that reaching out is safe again. Only you know which one is true for you. But here's what's also true. Research by psychologist Julianne Holt-Lunstad at Brigham Young University found that the quality of our social connections is one of the single strongest predictors of long-term well-being. More powerful than diet, more powerful than exercise. And quality, her research is clear, requires mutuality. It requires two people showing up. The connections that survived when you stopped initiating, those are the ones worth your energy. The ones that went silent, that silence wasn't a punishment. It was information. You didn't lose friendships when you stopped texting first. You finally got an accurate picture of which ones actually existed. Society calls it withdrawal. Psychology calls it calibration. You are not cold. You are not passive. You are not punishing anyone. You are someone who spent a long time pouring yourself into connections that were only ever warm on one side. And you finally, quietly, without drama, decided to stop doing that. The people who love you will reach out. They already have been. And the silence from everyone else isn't rejection. It's clarity. And clarity, even when it stings, is one of the kindest things a relationship can give you. You don't have to earn your place in someone's life by being the one who always goes first. Some people were never going to meet you halfway. And now, at last, you know who they are. If this one landed somewhere real, leave a comment and tell me. When you stopped texting first, what did the silence teach you? I read every single one. And if you've ever felt like you care more than the people around you, like you're always the one holding things together, the psychology behind why that happens and how it starts is something you need to hear. That one's next. Subscribe, because there is still so much of your own story left to understand.